Hello, this is Joe Glines, and I wanted to give you a quick example of how I used to use, when I worked in market research, how I use regular expressions to clean up my labels, my SPSS labels. So, you know, almost everything done in research now is online. There's very few phone and mail things done anymore. So we use different survey tools, and generally speaking, you program your survey. And what it tries to do is when you're using, most of the questions I ask are like standard agree, disagree, or select from a list. And what most survey tools try to do is when they give you back your answers, like this one actually, these two were just simple questions straight up, right? So there's nothing very complex about the, by the way, this is SPSS, where they normally give you your data file back in SPSS. This is the name of the variable, the type, the width. And this is the label, right? These are the labels that are automatically generated from the tool when you export it. And what they try to do, most survey tools try to do, is to give it to you in a format. You say, okay, what I call them is the stem and the leaf. So they often try to prioritize and put the leaf part, so basically at the beginning. The leaf part would be this particular part of the question that was asked in this example. But the stem, they'll append often to it as well. And so for this, the category, right, the questions, the scale that I had available was an agreement scale. It was a question, please indicate your level of agreement with the following statement. And then we had something like, how strongly you disagree with blah blah blah. And the statement would have been, products as scheduled. And the next one on the same scale would have been products of high quality, products specific to customers' needs, right? We were asking respondents to say how strongly they believe or agree that X company produces, you know, and blah 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 blah, right? Which is great, because you honestly, you do need to know, this is very helpful to know what question it's referencing, because if you just had this, sometimes I'll have importance questions with the same exact leaf than I do as an agreement statement. So I'll ask them both, how important is this, and how well do we perform on it, right, would be a good example. And if you haven't done a good job naming your variables, which in this case, these are just generic right out of the tool, if you didn't have this context, you would be very confused as far as to what's what, right? So I do agree, these need to be in there. What they don't do is they don't make it easy to clean this up. And so let's go for another example here before I do anything. And these, you could say, so each one of these, you'll notice, here's the name. These are names of products. And if we go down here, these are names of companies. And so let's look at the company one, right? Question, which of the following SC companies would you seriously consider when planning on an upcoming, and then I inserted a product group here that they were familiar with, blah, 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 design. Please select at least two, right? And basically, so each of these stems, it was only there once in the questionnaire, and then we would have the list of the companies, right? But of course, when I want to take my results and graph them, I don't want to have all this junk in here. All I want is the name of the company. And yeah, I can come through and delete these one at a time, or I could bring them, and let's say I'm going to bring all these, copy it, put it into Word, and then I'm going to try to say, okay, let me go find this and copy and replace, right? And then copy this back into SPSS. But it's a time-consuming process because I have different questions on each one. But what I realized after I started learning how to do a little bit of programming and scripting is that a regular expression makes it very easy. You can identify the pattern of like, oh, you know what? Usually it's like this topic. Anytime you have topic and two spaces, I want to get rid of that. And then with the category, space, category, and everything to the right. And so what I've done is I can come in here now, and I have a script running right now, and I'm just going to, let's stick with the top ones first. So I'm going to hit Control-W, which is just a hotkey I've written. And it goes and runs my script and strips out the junk, is what I call it, right? It doesn't, like this one, like I said, this one was the actual question, so I normally would truncate that because I don't want that in sort of a graph or anything. But you can see, and it goes across all of them, right? I can come down here, hit Control-W, and look at how pretty and easy that was to clean it up. Yes, I might have some tweaks I might want to make. I might want to replace the word semiconductor everywhere because I don't need to have that in every description of everything, and just it'll truncate it so my graphs are a little tighter and easier to look at. But I can very quickly come in here. Oh, and this is a good example here. Not this one, but the next one. So these also, this is the HTML, right? Because when I programmed this, it's been a while since I've looked at this, but this is a color. I piped in and said, okay, make this color and align it to the right, and don't allow it to have a line break in it. And then I had these, that has excellent customer service, is a stable company, is committed to, blah, 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 and I was piping back in the end equipment, or whatever that they worked in. And, again, a lot of extra crap that I needed to have when I programmed the survey, but I don't want to have it in my graph and my results. So let's see if I hit this, right, and it just all goes away. So, and I'm doing these some at a time just to help it make it a little easier, but I could come in here, hit it again, I can grab as many as I want. I could have, honestly, I could have done all of them once, and also this was like probably about a quarter or, 20% of the actual survey. I truncated it so it didn't look too ridiculous. But you can see how quick and easy that is. And so let me show you just real quickly. I don't want to get in the nitty-gritty of it, but this little bit right here, this Control W, I say, all right, first empty the clipboard, send input, and this caret means send the control key, Control C, so it's going to copy, and then basically wait to make sure that something gets copied. Once it does, and you can see here, clipboard, right all through here, I'm basically manipulating the clipboard using a regular expression, and this is the actual specific one as RegEx replace, where I'm basically saying, this is my haystack, and these are my different needles. And I say, okay, when you go in here and you find question and everything to the right of it, return, and it's basically just going to drop it out, right, everything to the right. And that's what each one of these are, different regular expressions. Like I said, this one, if I remember right, gets rid of the HTML tags, so it'll look for anything within brackets, and it takes out everything that's in brackets and replaces it with both. It looks for this everywhere in there, so it's going to remove the entire tag, not just what's inside, but the whole thing. But it makes it so easy. This very last one here is just trimming the spaces at the beginning and the end, because once you get rid of the other stuff, often you'll have extra spaces at the beginning and the end. And this last little bit, I'm just sending Control V back, and that's how it's dumping it back in there. The other thing I would like to show is, so I copied this over here into Word, right? Some of these, I can highlight it, hit Control W, and it works in here, right? The script I'm running, I was doing it straight in SPSS, which is great, but there's no actual reason to. I could do it in any program. So if I'm in Excel or Word or Notepad or anything, right, you can highlight your text, hit your hotkey, and it'll run your expression and actually send it right back to where it was. And presto, I have hours upon hours of really sucky work, is taken care of for me. Oh, looks like there's a couple here that didn't happen. Maybe I missed them. Oh no, it works. I did miss them. Because the survey tools will sometimes change their formatting, and so you need to go back. That's why I don't just say, hey, I'll make this available, because over time they'll change the nuance in how they export stuff, and it just takes a little bit of maintenance. But again, hours and hours of time saved. Thanks.